I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time.
Hello and welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James, and I get the distinct honor of introducing you to fabulous women. I really believe that this is a time on the planet where women are emerging and their voices are necessary. Our energy, our gifts, our talents, our brilliance, in fact. And so I bring to you every week another woman who has said yes to life and yes to bringing her gifts to make a difference on this planet. We are here every week on Fridays. We're on iTunes, iHeart, Spreaker, Amazon. We're on YouTube video. Look for Women Awakening with Cynthia James. And you can also go to my website, cynthiajames.net, and that's where my newsletter is and all of the things I do and the gifts that I offer. So today, I'm going to introduce you to a new person in my life. Her name is Shirley Jones. She helps individuals write the story of their life along with their lessons learned so that they can leave a legacy. She's a spiritual channel and helps her clients access the memories in a healing process. She believes that telling our story helps transform our life from one conflict to a heavenly delight, to love and to experience joy. Shirley selects her clientele very carefully and only works with those people who have a great calling in their life. She helps them develop their vision, purpose, and get clear on their why. So by telling their story, the client experiences an expansion of the consciousness and access to increased abundance. And the client's results are that they have a book ready for publication and can choose how they want to move forward. Shirley, welcome for being here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on, Cynthia. That's wonderful of you.
Well, first of all, I want to start with where you came from. How did you
Well,
grow up?
my birthplace is Chicoutimi, Quebec.
Ah,
So my mother is French Canadian, so I consider myself to be French Canadian.
beautiful. And brothers, sisters?
And I have three sisters with my birth father, and then I have a sister and a brother from my stepfather.
Okay. So, were you a writer as a kid? I mean, did you like writing?
I was not encouraged to do writing as a child. No, no, I wasn't. I ran around in nature, is what I
Ah,
did. Yeah,
okay. So
yeah.
I guess I want to know then, how did you move from that to wanting to help people? Well, first of all, to understand the importance and the power of a story.
Okay, well, the importance and power of the story came to me in the study of a book called The Four Valleys by the divine educator Baha'u'llah, which
Mm,
means the glory of God.
hmm. The Baha'i
And
faith.
okay, so you've heard of it. Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
Hmm. Hmm.
I appreciate you. So he talks about how we have to read the book of our own self,
Hmm.
even more so than any other academic writings. And he says, because it actually will make, it'll set the record straight on who you are. You know,
Hmm.
it'll clean you out from the shame of the actions that you've taken over the course of your life.
Mm.
And so at first it's the realm of conflict because you can have an inner conflict. But if you work through it, it it will end in the throne of splendor. So by the throne of
Ooh.
splendor, I take it to mean my interpretation of that is acceptance of yourself, compassion, um, love, understanding of yourself. That's a whole new place to be in your life.
Yeah. So you and I don't know each other. So my last book is called Does My Voice Matter? And it's a blend of what was happening historically in every decade of my life. My a memoir asks like my life story and then the lessons that I learned for the people to see if they can find their own voices. And so when I got the information about you, I was really interested because I want to know, mine was a journey by myself. There wasn't anybody help guide me. So I want to know what is your process for working with people um, to get this story out? Because a lot of things are painful and people kind of shy away from them.
Well, I interview them and I do a chart of
Mm,
the stepping stones of their life.
ooh,
And then, depending on where I sense there's a lot of pent up emotion, then I'll offer them a guided meditation recording. And I'll ask them to go inside, deep inside themselves and sit in their inner landscape, their inner garden on a bench and look at uh, the it's a guided meditation, right? So
mm,
they're going to tell me what it is that is their inner conflict. Like for instance, I have somebody who says, um, "I don't think I'm enough."
mm,
So I'll say, "Well, let's look at your inner garden and see a bunch of weeds, you know, and I'm going to ask you to start tending it and taking a basket and starting to pull out those weeds, and put them in the basket and then put them in the compost pile and clean out that area so that you can have a space inside yourself. And then
mm.
you can decide what you want to plant there because that conflict is put there for a reason. There's a lot of emotion. So I do guided meditations in person and on recordings to help them access the brilliance behind all the suppressed emotion.
Yeah, well, that's beautiful. Okay, I want to know, how did this particular process come to you?
Well, I think it's a spiritual process, Cynthia. I pray, I meditate, I chant the holy verses. I spend my life thinking about service and doing acts of service. It just comes to me. I feel it. I don't know. I get inspired, and I've had a lot of training,
Mhm.
but I kind of put everything together in a kind of my own recipe.
Yes, yeah. And so, have you written your life story?
Yes, I have.
Ah, want to tell us anything about it?
Well, the first chapter of my book, Shirley World, is called "How I Single-Handedly Stopped Climate Change,"
Great.
and it's hysterical. But I mean, everybody has a story. Everybody
Mhm.
has a story, and it's so important to study it and to know it really, really well. And um, what I do is I really basically help people to have a starting point. And so the starting point of my story was how I single-handedly stopped climate change because it was something that I was so ashamed about,
Mm.
and I had this horrendous car accident, and I was diagnosed afterwards with a mental illness. And there's a huge blessing in that.
Yes.
There's a huge blessing in that.
Well, I'm really glad that you're sharing that because any of you ladies who are listening, you know, there's a gift in everything that we go through, whether we recognize it or not. And oftentimes, these experiences and these diagnoses are actually portals to step into a new way of being. So I'm really grateful that you did that. You, in your bio, it says that you carefully choose clients. I mean, how do you choose clients?
Well, they come to me. I just had somebody come to me today that I've known for a while, and he's given me the honor of writing his book.
Oh,
So I carefully choose clients because I get sent them. These wonderful human beings come to me. They basically they choose me. If
ah,
they choose me, that's really what's happening because um, it's kind of the work of being like a spiritual midwife because somebody's
mm,
story is so special and so sensitive.
yes,
You
yeah,
can't just hand it off to anybody.
no, you definitely can't. So if there's a woman out there in this moment who's understands that she's got a powerful story but has been afraid to tell the story for whatever reason, or is unsure about how to tell that story, what would you tell them?
Okay, what would I tell them is this. Uh, Love is a light that never dwells in a heart filled with fear. You can't have two things going on in the same heart, you know, love and fear. So you want to be increasing your love. So I would recommend that they start to meditate and start pouring divine love into their heart center. And as they do that, as they increase the amount of love that they have for their higher self, themselves, it'll permeate their entire being and cast out fear
Mm,
because their story has to be told, you know?
yes.
E- Even if they just tell it to themselves, that's good enough.
Yeah. So why do you think it's important for us to tell our stories, especially women?
Uh, well, because know thyself and thou will know God. That's why. That's the whole purpose of life is to know ourselves and to get closer to our creator. That's what we're here to do.
Mm,
We're here to build an ever advancing civilization. And it begins with us. That's the only locus of control we have is
mm,
over our own selves.
right.
Mm.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. I guess I want to say so. I want to go back to your story for a moment because here you are, you've had this accident, you've had this diagnosis. What was the turning point for you to move away from the challenge to creation?
The challenge of the diagnosis, you mean?
Hmm.
To being who I am today?
Yeah, and how you were feeling the shame, whatever it was coming up then. What was the turning point for you?
Well, I sat down with myself and I really got really, really honest with myself. And I said, what do you love doing, Shirley? What comes to you naturally? And it's listening to people's stories and writing. That's what I love to do. And once I got my story out of the way, it was time to help people give birth to their stories.
Okay, I love that. And so when you started, because clearly something became clear within you of what your next steps were, but how did you open to get clients to support this vision?
Um, how did I open to get clients to support this vision?
Yeah, how did they find you? How did they come to you?
Well, I go into conversations. I go into rooms on Clubhouse
Ah,
and hold, I go into spaces and I moderate on the daily gratitude movement, for instance.
mhm,
And I'm there quite frequently offering service, so people get to know you and they get to like you. And then I go into other people's rooms and I'm starting to presence myself. I found my voice finally, Cynthia.
yeah.
You know, I was in such a state of grief there for 5.5 years that I was practically mute in both English and French. I know
Mm,
you find that hard to believe, but
yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, the mind is powerful, and when we're impacted, it affects different aspects of who we are. One of the things I like about what you just said, and I think this is important for the ladies listening, is you put yourself out there, not trying to get, but trying to give, trying to learn, trying to grow, and getting and inviting people to know you and what gifts you offered.
yeah, service.
Yeah,
Service is the rent you pay for being on earth. That's what
ah,
Muhammad Ali said, right?
right, right. Well, and the thing that's beautiful about that is that service looks different for all of us. For some people, it is the writing or the singing or the dancing or the spiritual community, and other service looks differently. So I guess I want to know for you, I mean, you have a very clear faith. Did that come out of the 5.5 years, or was it always there?
I've been a member of the Baha'i Faith since 1985, and I was super inspired by it because I wanted to do something different with my two little boys
Mm,
than what I had been brought up with. So I became very inspired by the teachings, and what happened was that I ended up taking my family up to Goose Bay, Labrador, and spending almost 20 years there. Very
wow.
isolated community. And I spent a lot of time studying the writings and memorizing them. And then I got divorced in 2013, and I spent a few years breaking all the laws and stepping away from it, not wanting to be labeled or anything like that. And I think that was really good for me because I'd never had an adolescence. I grew up really fast, and you know, so I tried on different things for 4 years, and now I'm back, and I think that what I would say is we have to be very, very careful when we are professing our faith, right?
Mm,
We have to be very sensitive to others. Everybody has the right to believe whatever it is that they want to believe.
right.
Whatever they want to believe is, I respect them.
Yeah. But I'm hearing though that, you know, um, there's a part of you that believes whatever you believe, that some kind of connection to the divine is important.
I think it's critically important. I think that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, as the expression goes, right?
Yeah, 100%. And so, will you just continue what you're doing right now, or is there something else that's percolating within you?
Well, I'd like to travel.
Okay.
I want to travel and I have a goal to go to Africa.
Mm,
So I'm going to manifest that.
Any
First
place in
things first.
particular?
I want to go to Benin.
Ah, and why Benet?
I have friends there.
Beautiful. Well, I'm definitely a traveler, and so, I support you 100% because there's something
Awesome.
beautiful about traveling. Tell me, how do people find you? How do they find you and your services?
Well, they can text me. There's my phone number, 450-330-3229. They can text me.
Say it one more time.
450-330-3229.
Okay, they can text you
So,
and then start the dialogue.
and start the dialogue, and we go from there.
Yeah,
And, I have a free gift, which is a guided meditation.
okay.
And that'll open up their inner garden, and they can start reflecting and journaling or writing or whatever.
And they get that once they contact you.
Once they contact me, and they
Mm,
can just text me meditation or a gift or whatever,
mm,
and I'll text them back.
beautiful.
And I'll send me their email address, and I'll email them the meditation. And then, you know I mean, I'm not pushy.
Right, I could
I'm
tell
here to
that.
serve. I'm here to serve.
I got that. So, I ask the same last question of every guest. The show is called Women Awakening. And what do you think is the most important reason for women waking up on the planet at this moment?
The most important reason why women are waking up on the planet right now is because of the consciousness. We're becoming more and more conscious that the human race is one race, and that men and women are equal. And as such, there's a lot of restructuring that has to go on in our society. And we have to step into our power. That's what your show is all about. It's about stepping into your power, right?
Yeah, 100%. Well, Shirley, I'm so grateful for you being here, and I'm grateful for you being on the planet and being in such a space of high service because there are a lot of people who need someone like you to help them bring their story to light. Thank you
Mhm.
so much.
Oh, I appreciate you so much, and I'm extremely grateful. Thank you.
So, ladies, I say the same thing to you every week in a different form. I love what Shirley said, knowing yourself and then learning how to share yourself in service to humanity is an incredible thing. And only you can know you the way you've come here to learn. So, why not step up and step out and take time to honor who you are, learn who you are, reflect on who you are, and share it with the world? Because I want you to know we're waiting for you. Many blessings.